to another day of Featured by Frenchie. Today I'm here with Dr. Kate and we have a special guest. Dr. Kate, will you introduce our special guest?
Hi, I'm Dr. Kate of Flourish Wellness Practice, and this is our boy Beretta. He's our doodle.
The video, we will try not to make all this information about Beretta, but I have a little connection already. So, Dr. Kate, thanks so much for taking the time today. I am so excited. A friend introduced me to what you do, and we barely got to scratch the surface, and so I want to let everybody know a little bit more, and I still feel like we'll only be scratching the surface for everything you do. But obviously we're sitting here on not a normal bench, so let's start with where are we and what do you do?
Yeah, for sure. So you're sitting on chiropractic adjusting tables. Here at Flourish, we do patient-centered chiropractic care, and we also do functional diagnostic nutrition. It's a form of functional medicine where we help patients get to the root of ongoing health challenges.
Okay, and I'm sure that they both tie together in essence. Today we're going to take the opportunity to dive into a little bit more with the functional medicine and the way that's affected you and the things that have come out of that.
For sure.
So Dr. Kate, obviously you started in chiropractic. You've told me a little bit about your story, and from there you have some health issues that led you into more of the wellness side of things. Tell us about it.
For sure. After my chiropractic education, I was working and I started to have some pretty serious health issues myself. And I was struggling for almost a year or more. Went to my PCP.
Struggling physically, emotionally?
Oh girl, I had anxiety, I had weight gain, I had fatigue, I had joint pain, I was moody,
So all of everything.
It just wasn't a good year or two. And I went to my PCP. She did a thorough evaluation and she was like, there's really no reason to explain why you're feeling the way you are. And I was struggling for, like I said, almost a year or so. Finally, once I learned more about functional medicine and functional lab testing, I was able to get to the root of what was going on. And I was struggling with some symptoms related to Hashimoto's disease.
Okay, and Hashimoto's is
It's an autoimmune condition that actually attacks your own thyroid. So it can lead to big thyroid imbalances. Okay. And that's where all these weird symptoms I was having were stemming from.
Okay, so with that, you were having not just emotional issues, you were actually having physical issues too with the joint pain. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, how that has helped other patients, you look beyond just a thyroid issue, correct?
Absolutely.
So any of these symptoms could lead to an issue with other organs or other things in your system?
Every single system within your body is connected.
I love how excited you get.
Nothing works independently.
Okay.
And that's one of the philosophies behind functional diagnostic nutrition. Okay. We're truly treating your whole entire body, all systems interconnected. Because headaches can actually be related to gut problems. And you can see how those are two different ends of the body.
Right.
And that's kind of the approach that we take no matter what sort of symptoms we're investigating and helping patients with.
Oh boy. So not that any woman, or man for that instance, or child, we talked a little bit briefly, and again, we're only scratching the surface of what some of these things are, but I mean, your patient range is children, men, women, because we've talked a little bit about sleep issues, or gut issues, weight gain, headaches, migraines, anxiety, stress. Not that the world right now knows anything about stress.
No.
But how to manage some of those things because your system might be off, not just external things.
For sure, absolutely.
Okay, so you have a lot of tests that you can run that aren't super invasive, a little personal, but I think it's important that we talk about those, see what those are. Let's check out what those look like.
Yeah, I'd love to show you guys some examples and show you just a couple of my favorite tests today.
Here we go.
Cool.
Okay, Dr. Kate, so we're going to start talking about some of the testing that you do. The symptoms that you evaluate are kind of endless, and the tests that you use, there's a multitude of those as well, but we're just going to kind of zone in on a few of them to, again, brush the surface of what you do. So let's go ahead and start.
For sure. I picked some of my favorites for you today. The first one we'll talk about is minerals. It looks at your healthy minerals along with some heavy metals.
Okay, minerals. I think of minerals and I'm thinking minerals like if you find them in the mountains or the Everglades or I don't even know where. What do you mean when you say minerals like in your system? Like your blood work minerals?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
So you're on the right path. Minerals are naturally occurring.
Okay.
Think back to chemistry. the periodic table of elements.
Right, right.
But vitamins and minerals are literally the foundation of good health.
No, vitamins are my language. I understand what vitamin is. Flintstones, right? That's
yeah, Freddie Flintstone vitamins. That's what we grew up having.
So you're talking vitamins, minerals are similar to that, or are they actually still two separate things?
They're two separate things, but like I said, vitamins and minerals are kind of like the foundation of good health.
Okay.
And they can relate back to all systems within your body. And it's super simple. It's a hair test. All you need is a little paper scale at home, some scissors.
Paper scale.
Yeah, I provide you with all of this. So you get an intake form, a paper scale, you take a little snip of your hair, it all goes in an envelope, you send it off to the lab. So testing your minerals is as easy as that.
Okay, so let's just talk a little more briefly. So what symptoms would I have, what symptoms would I have that you would say, we're going to try the mineral test?
For sure. So, like I said, the minerals, it's almost like a full body test. And what's really cool is all different mineral ratios relate back to all systems within the body. So there's literally a ratio for hormones, for thyroid health, for gut health. So honestly, this is one of those foundational tests that is a great place to start the investigative process.
Okay, so no matter what symptom I could come with you, or come to you with, this would be a start place, and then you might add in another test with it.
Absolutely.
But something, and this is not like you have to score an A, B, or C. This is more, everybody can actually take the test. Doesn't mean you'll pass or fail, right? But it's in a starting place for you.
It's full body, it's a lot of different symptoms, really easy, and it's a good starting place.
And then from this test, along with the other tests, when you get the results, then you sit down with your patients and evaluate those results, and that will tell you what they're lacking or have too much of, and that's where you start to adjust.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it can also help lead us to what other lab tests we need to dive deeper into. Okay,
so this is actually your directions then. You start here and this will direct you, let's evaluate this avenue more, let's evaluate this avenue more. Okay, all right, great. So this is your mineral test. This is a starting place.
Mineral testing.
What else do you have? Another one that's similar to what you use, or a broader one that you would use?
For sure. Another one of my favorites is the Dutch test. There's not going to be a quiz on this, but Dutch stands for Dried Urine Tests for Comprehensive Hormones.
And we are not demonstrating today.
No, we're not.
I wanted to make it exciting, but we're not getting that personal today.
But I do have different Dutch tests that I can use depending on what we're looking for. So hormones can be either your sex hormones or your stress hormone cortisol. Have you heard of that?
Oh, maybe once or twice.
All right.
I don't have any because I just want stress, and mine's evaporated.
We live in a stressful world.
Sure.
So in addition to those sex hormones that we all think of, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone.
Okay.
We always need to check patients and their cortisol.
Okay.
Cortisol can relate back to that fatigue, inability to lose weight, brain fog, burnout.
And from my understanding, from my own personal knowledge, having some things done personally to help with my nutrition, that cortisol affects those other hormones.
Oh yeah. If your cortisol's out of control, it's kind of like pouring gasoline on a fire. It can just start these little fires throughout the body in all different ways and all different systems.
And other hormones might try to make up for you using all of that cortisol.
Absolutely.
Little my own research.
You got it. You're on the right track.
So that's just basically a urine test that you supply the kit.
Real easy. It comes in an envelope. There's little strips in here. You urinate on them, you let them dry, and then you package them up, send them into the lab.
And then you get results to, again, evaluate what those are.
And again, it kind of breaks down sex hormones along with, the adrenals and cortisol and DHEA.
And so lack of what I would say of knowledge coming into this, it's not a matter of you're just checking for your thyroid, you're just checking for your hormone levels. You're covering everything. What is off? And then what organ or what system is directly affecting that? But again, once you kind of fix one, it may help affect the rest.
Absolutely.
Okay, now one thing that I don't know if it's just this year, from my own personal experiences that I'm hearing about, but leaky gut is something you hear. And it just sounds so attractive to discuss. But that is something that you've kind of really dived into, that you break down for people, that you really address because it affects a lot of things that throw your entire system. And you talk from your like personal experience. This is something also that has been affected from your own personal experience?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's look at that because you have a test for that one too.
I do.
Okay.
So we can dive into that next.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Kate, we're going to dive into leaky gut.
Yes.
Now, I think something we haven't spoke about as we dive into this is your training with this. So I know that you went to school for chiropractics. How or what did you have to do to get more involved with the testing or the wellness side of your practice here?
For sure. I did a whole additional training through functional diagnostic nutrition.
Okay.
Which dove into this functional medicine world, the lab testing, the protocols, and that was an additional training that I did on top of my chiropractic college.
Okay. And then your chiropractic college, obviously, you have so much nutrition that you learned with there.
Exactly.
And medicine, so this just kind of enhanced that.
For sure.
Okay.
It was just a nice add-on.
Right, and again, it all ties together, especially for what you do. So, leaky guts, what's a leaky gut, and do I have to get it fixed by surgery?
No!
Because I don't want anything leaking and I'm not getting tied up. Go for it.
Your gut is your second brain. So the gut health is essential
Okay,
to
we make jokes with men because we talk about second brains with men. So this is a woman's or men's too? Is this a
both
gender thing or no? Okay.
No.
Okay.
This is everybody.
Okay, I want to make sure because I hear men think with a different brain. Sorry for my audience, but you're saying this is your second brain. Let's go. Okay.
So, I mean, gut health is essential for restoring health in all their systems. We always go there first, pretty much.
Okay.
So real quick, I'd like to show you the difference between healthy gut and leaky gut. Your gut is made up of a single layer of epithelial cells, so it's like the lining of your gut. Typically, they have really tight junctions in between each one of those cells, and you have these finger-like projections. So let's break that down. These tight junctions do not allow big, bad bugs into your body. So it keeps out things like bacteria. They cannot pass through.
And that's what you're referring to as bugs. The bacteria is a bug.
Yeah, bacteria, viruses, parasites, yeast, fungi. So it's keeping out the bad bugs, the big buggers like this. But the tiny micronutrients, like vitamins and minerals, are pulled in with these finger-like projections. Okay. Vitamins and minerals are good. So they're allowed through.
They're like absorbed then.
Yeah, they're absorbed into the bloodstream here. Okay. And toxins are also kept out via those tight, healthy junctions.
Now, in layman terms, when we talk about the bad bugs that can't get in, are they literally actually bigger so they can't? Or is this that you're showing here, is that a way of just it knows good or bad so it keeps certain ones out? It's the size of the actual bug?
It's both.
Okay.
Bacteria and viruses are bigger than micronutrients like vitamins and minerals.
Oh, okay.
But you also have built-in immune defenses in your gut that help to keep them out also and kind of kill them off.
Okay, great.
So what happens is sometimes this barrier starts to break down. So think of it like your armor starts to get holes in it. And now all of a sudden we have these big gaps, and the bad stuff, the big toxins, can now get through. Okay. The big bacteria, the viruses, they can now sneak through. So these big ones. And the small things like vitamins and minerals actually aren't being picked up because these finger-like projections that grab all the good stuff are now blunted.
Okay, so up here they're getting actually absorbed. Your vitamins are getting absorbed into your cells and your bloodstream.
These finger-like projections are grabbing them and pulling them in.
Where here they're separated, so the vitamins aren't even absorbed. They're just sneaking through like everything else and getting dispersed.
Yeah, so now we have some malnutrition.
Now how do my cells separate?
That's a good question.
Because that's like, this is cool science. How do they separate? What is that?
It can be a number of different things, but food sensitivities, antibiotic overuse, toxins, inflammation, things like that over time can lead to the breakdown of those tight junctions and lead to the formation of leaky gut.
Now once they're broke down, do I need a Botox injection to like put them back together? I mean, I'm trying to correlate this so I understand with science. I mean, can they all seam back together?
Yes, you can heal from leaky gut, and that's why I use one test specifically called the GI map to start to identify bad bugs and some of the causes that can lead to leaky gut. identify it and start to heal it.
Okay, so what kind of tests do you do for leaky gut?
This is a personal one.
Oh boy. We're not personal here. We're talking about different brains, so we're not personal.
This is a stool test, but it's very simple. It's sent straight to your home. You collect it in your own home, nice and clean and simple, and you send it back to the lab.
Okay, and all the instructions, obviously we don't need to get into sampling or examplings, what that is like, but things are sent to your home. And it's funny, but I mean, that's where we're finding where our stuff is and what's coming out and what that looks like. So it comes to your house, you take the test, you send that back. We don't bring you a fresh sample, right?
No.
Okay. It gets sent back to the lab, and then you'll get the test results with your client and evaluate.
Absolutely, and it's super comprehensive. It is a DNA-based test.
Okay.
So it's not petri dishes and bacterial colonies and stuff.
But that's interesting. I would think you'd be looking at that. Okay.
It's very specific. It's DNA-based testing.
Okay.
We're checking for the good bacteria in your gut, along with some of the bad bugs that can sneak in and kind of wreak havoc, such as bad bacteria, viruses, even H. pylori, pathogens, yeasts, and worms. So it's a very comprehensive test.
We're gonna see if I have worms. We're gonna check if I have worms. Okay, I guess taking the funny side, when you say it's a DNA test, some of the things that we fight in life, and I'm making it personal as a female, I guess, we know that, you know, you're genetically, you can inherit some things like a thyroid disorder or something, or the way you're built, your DNA, the way you're gonna gain or lose weight.
Absolutely.
But this test kind of goes into that. What are your genetics? Where do they come from? Evaluate some of those things. But our lifestyle plays a huge impact on that as well, what we're eating. So you're not going to just put us on, you know, a CrossFit body guide of exercise.
No.
Or tell us that we are eating no carbs and no sugar the rest of our life. But give us a way to function everyday life with some lifestyle changes and learn our bodies so we know how to affect that.
For sure.
Okay.
Every single health rebuilding program that I develop is
health rebuilding program. Say that again.
Health rebuilding program.
I like how positive that is. You need a sign. This is a health rebuilding program. Okay.
But it's always customized to my patient. It's tailored to our test results.
Okay.
And what we're doing is we're focusing on the areas of diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, both internally and externally, and obviously some supplementation.
And you have a way to remember those things.
I do. Dress.
Same again.
Diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, supplementation.
I was so impressed first time I heard that. I won't remember, but I like it. Okay. Dr. Kate, there is so much more we could talk about. I know there's some personal stories that you've shared with me, even with your mom and her history, and something I think people need to get over. And I know this is something, you know, we're going to talk a little longer than probably a lot of the segments that I do, but I think it's important because if this is something that affects you, here's an avenue to take with someone you can trust, not only by your symptoms that you're having, but actual test results as well.
Absolutely.
Changing those. But this isn't also, I hate to throw this term out on you, witch doctor. It's not the crazy, like, oh, we're going to come in and just do, you know, something different that's out there. And I mean, there's some really quirky things out there, which I think work for some people. But you believe in medicine.
I do.
You believe in the doctors that are out there.
Yes.
And just briefly share a little bit with your mom, because we spoke about this, and I think this shows the importance and appreciation you have for the medical community, because you're part of that. You're enhancing that.
Yeah. I respect all doctors, and I believe all disciplines of medicine have a time and a place. My mom went through breast cancer last year, and thank you to all of her oncologists and doctors that she worked with. She's now breast cancer free.
Yay!
But we worked as a cohesive team. Her
Right.
doctors helped treat her cancer. In the background, we were doing these functional medicine tests. We were holistically supporting her health while she went through chemotherapy. And I do that with a lot of my patients. A lot of my autoimmune patients work with rheumatologists or endocrinologists. I'm very supportive of being a member of your healthcare team.
Right. That just means a lot to me. I know my husband and I specifically, I mean, he's in the medical field and he really appreciates the science and the research with medicine. And I do as well. I think there's a really important place for that. I also like the holistic, the natural parts of medicine. So him and I are yin and yang. I know you said you and your husband sometimes are yin and yang.
Sometimes we're a little yin and yang too.
But I think that's important, and I think it's vital for people to know this is not picking or choosing one or the other. This is saying, hey, this is a whole body team, no matter if you have doctors that are helping you or if you don't, and you having resources to point you in those directions, or find out if there's a serious issue that they need to be seen a little bit more with a doctor. Dr. Kate, I will sneak through Beretta here and say thanks so much for your time. I highly encourage all of you to check out Dr. Kate and her practice here, Flourish Wellness Practice. And we are here in Allison Park. Of course, you know I always link all the information for the amazing businesses that we have the opportunity to check out. I think I could talk to you for hours to learn more. We were talking stress a little bit. I mean, there's so much that you can help with and explain to make it in terms that everybody understands, but personal to the people that were here. Thank you, Beretta, for joining us. We missed your sister today. Mosley is also once in a while visiting. I love what I do. I love being here with Dr. Kate at Flourish Wellness Practice, and I know you will too. Check us out on, of course, all the social media platforms, and give Dr. Kate a call. Thank you.